Okay, so today I'm going to talk about the new synthesizer by Kia. Yes, the car company. So last week I was on the internet and I found this ad for Move.ment, the new synthesizer by Kia, and so I had to check it out. I went to the website. The website's pretty epic. The website talks about the science of inspiration and using pink noise in the samples to generate brainwaves. And now, if you're a Pro Tools user, this doesn't come in AXX, so you have to wait for another car company to make their plugin. But if you're running Logic or anything else, you're good. It comes in VST2, AU. So first thing I see is the layout and design is really good. You can tell they spent a lot of time on design and just getting the layout really nice on this. And again, they're a car company. Design is in the forefront of their industry. So it really shows. I find a lot of synthesizers, especially when you get the free ones, tend to be a little bit bloated. They tend to have too much stuff, and it's hard to understand because synthesizers can be pretty complicated if you've never used one before. But in this case, they did a really good job. So let's talk about that a little bit. The first module or section that you see in the Movement application is you have your sampler. They call the sampler Nature. It has 8 samples that they say they sampled from around the world. Did they need to do that? No, not at all. Is it something that sells it? Yeah, sure. Okay, so while I was editing this video, my friend Ian messaged me and told me that something he made for me has been finished, and I went and picked it up, and I have to show you this. Let me show you. Okay. This is my new sign. I'm gonna hang it up right over there. This studio I'm calling a Groove Bone. It's something I've been using the name for a while, so yeah, I just wanted to throw this in here and give a big shout out to Ian. Thank you so much. His company is called Southwest Rustic Signs. I'll put a link below so you guys can check out his work. It's awesome. You've probably actually seen him in some of my videos already on some of my previous desk builds. Anyways, I just wanted to give a shout out, and I'm gonna get back to editing. Ciao. These are kind of the common samples you would find in like any sleep app or just kind of calming application, which makes sense, right? Like these are sounds that are very relaxing to us. In the ad, they talk about these are sounds that generate pink noise, and it's kind of funny they said that because I've worked on apps where we've actually generated these sounds using pink noise. Like for example, the beach. You can actually generate something like this fairly easy using pink noise. If you have an oscillator, an EQ, you can do some cool stuff with it, just kind of creating a soundscape with pink noise. They have birds, thunder. Just crank the thunder. I don't know if you can hear it, but on the right side, some of the thunder clips. And I don't know how they mic'd stuff, how they went around getting sound. I'm sure it's probably just like a field recorder, and they just imported it in. But anyways, it's pretty cool. The next section is your VCO, your voltage controller oscillator. So this is kind of like changes the oscillation rate of your sound wave. So if I hit a note, I can change the speed of that. It has a fine tune knob. So if I want to make something a little bit lo-fi or a little bit off, I can do that. A pulse width knob, which I think this is just changing the position in which, let's see if I can find it. The position, how quick the sine wave peaks. So if I look here and that's really early, as I move it, you can see the sine wave takes longer to peak. So that's kind of interesting. So the next section is our mixer section. We can change the volume of our sampler, our VCO. We can add noise. This is kind of cool. So if I hit a note, it generates the noise from the sample underneath it, and then it has a reverb, which is cool. You have 4 waveforms to pick from, just a sine wave, square, saw, and another sine wave. So I guess saw, I think is a saw, square, another saw, and then sine wave. So the filter is really nice because you have your cutoff. So if you have a note, let's say, is a little aggressive, let's switch it to a saw, and you want to just dial it back, you can use the cutoff. And this is nice if you're trying to get a synthesizer to sit in a mix. You have your resonance bump. You have a modulation section, which is kind of cool. So if you want to have a little bit of movement going on, if you're using stereo, you can change the attack decay on that. And then it has another section, which is just ADSR for your entire synth. So if you want to have a slower attack, let's go to, let's bring down the resonance bump, this. So if you want to have a quicker attack, longer decay, sustain, release, you know, all the standard goodies. Then you have your output tone, which I think is just adding some harmonics, and your output. Yeah, it has a nice keyboard laid out. Something that threw me off at first, if you're using a mouse, especially if you're using a Magic Mouse, if you leave your finger on, you can slide up and down. So it was kind of weird. I was pushing buttons and it was like 3 off, and I thought it was just a bad software, but it turns out it's just something you can do. Why do I like this synth so much? It's not that it's revolutionary, because, I mean, it's a synth. But I really think that Kia spent a lot of time trying to make this something that is inspiring, that will make you want to create music. So for example, I found myself spending quite a bit of time actually just messing around with the plugins, because for someone like me, I don't know how I would use the sampler, and the style of music that I do, I don't use a synthesizer a lot. But I did find myself playing with the presets quite a bit. It was just kind of cool to see what kind of stuff they came up with. So you can spend a lot of time going through the presets and just kind of get some inspiration that way. Now, if you decide not to use the nature sounds, just using the standard synthesizer modules here and just having the ability to change the waveform, you can do a lot. So for a free plugin, this is pretty awesome. Maybe that'll be like my first like live video on TikTok or something, is just creating something with the synthesizer, because just seeing what other people have used already for inspiration is really cool. They talk about it in their ads that this is what they use to create their own sound logo, and they use this for a lot of their other advertisements already. So this is something they've been using for a while, and the fact now that they're letting us use it is pretty cool. And as I mentioned before, the simplicity of the design, this tells me that they had some people really think about it, because when you over bloat software, it becomes unusable and uninspiring. And because they wanted to make it inspiring, they wanted to make sure everything works, they want to make sure everything was clean, everything sounded good. This is it. This is a really good plugin. So my advice is download it, and don't let the branding of Kia and all that throw you off. Look at it for what it is, a really good piece of software that gives you some really good functionality and will hopefully inspire you to make something really cool, because there's just something about being simple. It's like the Blockbuster syndrome, right? For those of you who remember Blockbuster, you would walk into a Blockbuster and there's a million movies and you can't make any choices. Where here, it's like, well, you got 8 samples, you have some very simple tools, some simple modules, make something. So that's my overview of this application. I hope it's useful. I hope you like it. Go out there and download this and make something awesome. Anyways, thank you very much, and I'll see you later.